Spoken Label. Hi guys, it's Andy N. Thanks today for downloading or streaming yet another episode of Spoken Label. As you may or may not be aware, Spoken Label was started in the beginning of 2006, and currently we have well over 150 sessions recorded and sent. Although you can find it on various networks, the full archive is available for streaming and downloading at spokenlabel.bandcamp.com. It is a free download or free stream in there, but obviously, if you feel like chucking me a few pennies that way, it'd be eternally grateful to help me keep this podcast going and keep improving my equipment, etc. Enjoy. Speak to you soon. Bye bye. Spoken Label.
Hi guys, Andy N again. Spoken Label back in the house over at the SIP. Second month of the trot we've been here. Now, obviously, people that know me know this is where I do with friends speak easy. And if we do this is the pre-speak-easy recording, who's sat with me?
Amanda still.
Yeah, my gorgeous co-host. Now we've got another lady with us tonight as well. I wanted to better for the first time a few minutes ago, but it's always good when we do this Spoken Label podcast because people give recommendations. And I got a recommendation on this post, and I can't remember who it was now. It doesn't all matters. Somebody recommended you to me, so
I imagine I know who it would be actually.
I've clean forgot who it was. So
maybe Leon the Pig Farmer, because he
it was.
He is a wonderful poet.
Yes, it was him.
Yes,
that gentleman. Yes,
he's always very kind about me, which I appreciate.
He is Leon. Now, Jackie's real name is, of course. But Jack's been here to SpeakEasy a few times now, he has, and he did a wonderful write-up for us a few months ago, saying if he lived more local, he'd be here every month. So
yeah, lovely.
Now, Amy, who's sat next to her, I'll let her introduce herself in a minute. She's come on Leon's recommendation. So, Amy, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody? Tell them who you are, and obviously where you're living now and where you originally come from and where all your creative endeavours started from.
Okay, so my name's Amy King. I'm a queer northern spoken word poet, originally from Grimsby, which never gets the best reaction, but it's not that bad. Yes, I currently live in Didsbury. I moved to Manchester about 9 months ago, and the scene here is really, really good. It's I was originally in Sheffield before this, and that always feels like going home. The scene there is just lovely, full of really wonderful people and poets. But yeah, it's exciting to be in Manchester now, where it almost feels even bigger. Probably because it's a bigger city, but it's exciting to be here.
Yeah, certainly with the poetry side around here, that's somewhere in the vicinity of 30 odd different nights in the reckon monthly nights in the area.
Yeah,
and that's just it's expanded all the time, so it's incredible. So, but in relation to yourself, then, where did your creative stuff come from then?
I think I was always a kind of story writer for years. I just didn't even consider poetry as an option at all. And then I took a creative writing module at university, and our teacher was she was very insistent that we did write some poems. And
fantastic.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good kind of kickstart. A lot of us were kind of like, what is this? What do we write about? We all kind of went straight for things like nature and love and all this stuff because we didn't really know what we could write about. And then suddenly it became this thing where anything can be a poem. Yeah. If you want it to be, and you kind of want to write about it. So then it kind of just stemmed from there, and I started getting involved in open mic nights in Sheffield, and then I ran an open mic night for a little while until I moved here, which is wonderful. It's still running now, which is great. It's kind of been passed the torch, which makes
fantastic.
me happy.
That's fantastic. I think this is the third night I've had a hand in running some form or another.
Yeah,
and they are, because they're brilliant. It's a great experience running an open mic night.
It's lovely to see it from the other side, I think.
Yeah, it is, and you learn a lot from running nights. You do. That's why. And Amanda, in your case, I know when you first came on board SpeakEasy with me, you'd never done anything like this before, had you? So
no, I got dragged into it. Kicking and screaming.
Like it was certainly in Amanda's case, when Amanda first got into reforming poetry, this was her first time she ever read that.
Yes.
And it was, your story.
Yeah, I was stood just behind where you sat now, and my legs were shaking, and I couldn't see the paper because I couldn't get my hand.
Yeah.
Were you like Amy first time you started reading them?
So shaky. I was never good at public speaking ever. I'd hide from it completely. And then I don't know why, it's strange because still doing presentations or kind of speaking in public spaces, I still struggle, but I think poetry, something else kind of takes over. And I don't know if it's because it's my kind of personal writing that I'm putting out there, that it just feels more like I'm having a conversation with a room of people. And it just somehow, it took like years to get to this point. Like I was very shaky initially as well, and it was a very daunting experience. But nowadays it feels a little bit better.
I think the more you do it, the more confidence you get. 'Cause I've been in it some form over about 12 years now.
Yes.
And it took me years to stop shaking, stop mumbling, and learn to be more precise everything you do.
Slow down and
and make sure you're looking at people face in the face all the time, certainly. Now, in your case then, obviously, back to you, obviously, I could talk me all that long. I know Amanda could as well.
No, it's nice to meet other poets. Yeah.
Now, tell us, obviously, is there any recurring themes in your work then, if people are interested?
Yes, probably. It's funny when you notice kind of what images creep in to certain poems. I write a lot about LGBT issues, just because I'm an out gay woman. So to me, it's kind of natural to talk about kind of things that affect the community I happen to be in, and kind of I work at a charity as well for LGBT people, so naturally I kind of meet a lot of people in similar boat. So quite a lot to talk about that. A lot of my family. I don't know if they always want me to write about things and talk about it. My mum gets very much like, don't do that, don't perform that while I'm there. But it's kind of family, friends. Sort of a lot of my things are quite narrative driven, I've noticed. So it's kind of a lot about telling a story.
Now, obviously, when you were always been writing when you were younger, was there anybody that influences really got you writing?
Oh, I think it's hard. I wasn't a big reader or writer as a kid, which is quite funny looking back. Because like, my family aren't particularly. I don't know if they'd say they were quite. I don't know if they're quite creative people or not. Maybe they are in their own way. But I think a big sort of, especially kind of poetry influence, probably. I think watching people like Kate Tempest.
Oh she's so popular. Kate Tempest.
She's incredible. I just think
you've watched her, Amanda.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, it's well worth watching. And it's like she's really, I think, reinvigorated what the poetry circuit for certain people.
Oh, massively. I think it just suddenly became. It just kind of that was one of the first poets to probably show me what I could write about, and that it's much more of a performance as well instead of just maybe kind of the words on the page. It can be a much bigger thing than that, I think, sometimes. So she was a very big influence. And then I ended up watching a lot of American kind of slam poetry, which is a very different thing, and I don't watch it as much anymore because I think that was initially the only thing that kind of felt available, because it's quite obviously such a big thing in America to kind of have that very performative, very.
I find it very difficult to watch because I think because what they write about the tone is often relatability sometimes.
Yes, definitely. I think I definitely watch a lot more UK kind of based poets now, just because it's great to know that there are so many good poets in this country. It's ridiculous, and they're just there. And I think because we have things like social media, the platforms are so much
completely
easier to find people. So
I think as well as the poetry circuit as well, like in every city now, it's taken off everywhere you go.
Yeah,
massive secrets. Like Leeds has got a massive one. I've interviews with quite a few poets from Leeds and Bradford.
Yes.
And there's a massive circuit in Liverpool, but I would not really chat to many in Liverpool.
No, I've heard there's some good nights in Liverpool, but I haven't ventured there yet. But
well, even on people from SpeakEasy, somewhere, do you remember Steve the poet, Amanda? He got a train over from Southport down here.
Wow, really?
People from Cumbria as well.
Yeah, Cumbria. We've had an American poet been there twice called Juliet, and I don't ask me to pronounce her surname. Sorry, Juliet.
From Wales, though, not all the way from
North Wales. She drove, and her husband drove the Wales. Done it twice.
Crikey.
First time it took him 4 hours because he got stuck in traffic.
Oh my god, that is determination. That.
Oh yeah, completely. How have you found the Manchester circuit then since you came onto it?
Very loud, very exciting. I love it. It's I think the nights just feel so big, and I feel like it's definitely kind of pushing me as a writer, I think, to kind of keep challenging myself, because there's people doing such interesting things.
Oh yeah, completely. And have you found your writing developed much then since you come to Manchester?
Yeah, it's definitely changed. I think the tone of things I write about has changed a lot. I think I used to kind of go in all guns blazing, and now I think I've started to find like kind of subtler ways to write about topics. So it's definitely like improving me as a writer, definitely.
I think you do. The more you do with them, open mics, you tend to find as a person your writer develops, and it. I think you find what you think when you jump into it, although they very calm down, thinking, right, I don't need to do 20 barrels of somebody.
No,
5 barrels of Cabernet Impact.
You can definitely, kind of incorporate things like humour, or kind of, I don't know, kind of getting people on the back foot maybe when you start a poem. I think that's always quite a good way to.
I know you've got a good story about Amanda, haven't you? Do you want to tell me about the one when you made Dave Hartley cringe in here?
Oh, well, that wasn't a poem.
That was
to do fiction, non-fiction as well.
Okay.
As well as poetry.
Yeah.
So I read an extract from a short story, and I don't know how much I can say on the podcast.
Just say it. I'll put an adult warning up.
There was a part where a woman gets taken over by an incubus demon who starts controlling her, and she starts being more outrageous, and she gets a guy in a closet and starts giving him oral sex, and then she bites it up.
Oh, I've heard of a film like that.
And
That's excellent.
People can't see where we're sat right at the front of the room. And there's a little table sat on the left there, and Dave Hartley used to run this now, was sat there watching and wondering. His legs started crossing quite
There's a lot of men sat there with their legs crossed, and a lot of women laughing.
Oh, I think that's brilliant though. I think you've got to be able to. You should be allowed to push it to different topics and make people uncomfortable. I think that's okay.
I think you succeeded that night.
Yeah,
That's for sure. So.
I've got a reputation, but
Slightly for a change. So, but have you found then obviously coming to Manchester, obviously, like, I mean, you used to run your own night. Could you see yourself running a night in Manchester maybe sometime?
Yes, I'd like to. Hopefully. I think at the moment I'm a little bit all over with life and work and things. I'm definitely kind of. I think before Christmas I just didn't have enough time to start going to all the nights because I work a lot of evenings. But I've started to kind of make time to come to nights like this one, especially. Like SpeakEasy.
SpeakEasy.
Yeah. We're waiting for that to happen at some point, just in case. But yeah, I think there's a couple of really cool venues as well that I can like. I'm not sure if any nights are running there yet, and I think there's definitely space maybe on. I don't know, because obviously there's a lot of open mics and spoken word nights running already, but I think there's always room for more. Yeah,
there's always room for more. I think a lot of it is yourself. You just need to check what's clashing and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah. You can just plan around, can't you? And
that's what we do. So that's we've been quite lucky this night here. Like there is other nights on the same night as us, but we've been generally been getting packed out for about a year in here now.
That's really wonderful. Yeah.
Last month we got over 50 people in there, so that's why I wanted you down here early today.
No, I'm glad you did.
We did one. Was it last month for Julia? Or the month before? Last month it was, and she arrived just after you did. And the time we got into doing the poetry, but people were pouring in there.
Yeah.
That's why there's a case of right, quick.
Yes, sorry, I was
you'll get time today, so there's no problem with that. Now, obviously, the session will be going live after. I know you've got a big reading contract with Harry Baker, haven't you?
I do, yes.
In York. Tell us about that then. How did you get that slot?
So there's a wonderful poet called Henry Raby who runs an amazing kind of spoken word. He's like spoken word nights and slams in York that are under the name Say Out, and would honestly recommend going to any of his nights. They're absolutely wonderful. And I performed in a slam there in November. And it went very well, which was good. I ended up winning, which was ridiculous.
Oh, well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
I've never competed in I've only competed in team slams before. Like, I'm not. The slam scene kind of freaks me out a little bit because I think it's really hard to critique poetry and give it scores. I think that's really sometimes quite strange because it's obviously a subjective art form. What one person likes, one person might not like. So I always find it a bit strange. But
I've been to a couple, and I think I read one about 10 years ago, and I just won it, but I won't do it again.
No, it's horrible. It's quite scary because people are giving you scores, and you're kind of like, oh god, how do you give that a 7.3? Like, what does that come from?
And it's worse when you get the audience absolutely drunk.
Yeah, because then you just got hecklers and you got like all sorts going on.
It's impossible, man. Honestly. So tell us about that then. So the experience of slam then.
Yeah, it was good fun.
I didn't know about it, so I always like to hear stories.
It's interesting. So we got there. There's 10 poets competing in the first round. We all won it one by one, and then 5 audience members were given scorecards. So you had so you perform your piece, and then they'd be like, right, what do you give them? What do you give them? And then it was kind of the top 4 got through to the second round, and we all performed again. And then I somehow won that, and then formed a final poem, and it was a wonderful experience in the end. I don't know if I'd do it again in a rush, just because it's quite nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking because
it's exhausting.
Every time
you get out there, you think
it's an emotional experience. Because I was competing against some friends as well, which luckily we're all big fans of each other, so it was very supportive, and I had a great time. The slot for Harry Baker came, so they needed some support, and they wanted a couple of poets who performed at the slams to support him. So they said, "Oh, do you want to come do a 10-minute set for Harry Baker?" And he's like, he's just incredible. He's absolutely wonderful poet. So this I'm very, very honoured to be on the same stage as him. He's amazing. So that should be wonderful. And it's on March 15th in York. And all the information on Facebook and things, but
unfortunately this podcast went live after that.
Okay. Let's assume it went really well.
I'm
future
confident.
Amy has a great time.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll go well. I'll be putting that on it, right? So we'll be asking you questions. Obviously, I'll see you messages on Facebook afterwards. We can put when I write the podcast up. It went great.
That's fair.
I may if it didn't, I won't put that. It went rubbish.
No, it's fine. It all went great.
Not back in York again.
Yeah.
If we see pictures of you with tar and feathers on your back, we know we didn't
do well.
What plans do you have after that then, creative-wise?
So I'm really excited. I'm working on a couple of projects. The main one I'm doing at the moment is a friend of mine called Millie Wild is helping me, which is a great name.
It's a great name.
She's brilliant. She's helping me produce some poetry sort of videos, kind of professionally filming them. And we've picked 3 poems of mine that we're going to film and record in different settings. We had a meeting about it today, actually. There's one of my oldest poems. It kind of feels like, I always say it feels like it's like if the killers, like the way the killers must feel about Mr. Brightside. It's like that's a poem I always end up doing.
Yeah, I think you do like it when you get known for a poem sometimes, and if your writing moves on, you're thinking, oh, do I have to do it again?
Yeah, it's kind of come. I kind of had that weird relationship with that poem for a long time. It's called "Coming Out in Witherspoons," and it's very fun. But yeah, it's one that, so we have a meeting about that today, and we're gonna record it in a pub soon, and it's gonna be quite fun, I think, to have some kind of professionally recorded videos, because obviously people film bits for you at open mics and things, but it's not always the same. It's not always like the best quality. So we're gonna do some.
Cool. When's this happening then?
So over the next we're doing 3 in total. We're starting filming next week, so it's going to be one after another, I think. So yeah.
Send us the links and I'll put them on
this
podcast.
Will do. Yes, thank you.
This podcast will be live probably May, I reckon now.
Okay. Yeah, we should. We should be there. But if we're not, then you can ask me questions about what I've been wasting time doing.
Do you have anything else planned out apart from that? Do you? Or?
I think it's getting to the point where I've kind of got a good amount of work that I'd maybe like to put together in some sort of little pamphlet. I don't know if I want to. I think I'd like to self-publish something, because I think a lot of the time, I think what makes you a poet, in scare quote marks. I don't know. I think you can write and perform, and that's you as a poet. I don't think you need to get kind of published by like Penguin, or you don't need to be doing all these things to be classed as like a proper artist.
No, I don't think you need to nowadays, because I've done four self-published books now, actually.
Exactly, and I just think good for you, because like, why would you not when
Amanda's done, what you done? 2 poems.
She's
done countless novels, countless
exactly, that's wonderful.
2 full poetry
it's like
books
we don't
well.
need to wait for permission for people to say we can do these things. So I'm going to hopefully put together a little body of work.
Good luck, definitely.
Thank you.
If people want to find out more about you, where are they best going?
Now best going on Facebook. I have a page called Amy King Poetry, and I post all my kind of what events I'm going to, or any videos on there. So that's the best way to find me.
Sounds good to me. Well, that's all my questions.
Thank you.
So we'll pause recording, and you'll do a few poems for us, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Right. Thank you again, and that's been excellent stuff. So speak to you all soon, guys.
Spoken Label.
Hi, this is Andy again. Straight over to Amy. She's going to do a couple of quick poems for us. Over to you, Amy.
So this first poem is called 8 Things That Prove I'm Growing. Number 1. When a co-worker describes me as the little twat trying to ruin our country in front of everyone in the office for mentioning my politics, I don't reply, "You fucking what?" or lamp her with my stapler. Number 2. When a distant cousin I haven't seen in over a year declares with that tone of superiority that you can't really do anything useful with a literature degree, I smile politely and head straight to the bar, because I know it will be a long night. Number 3. When I mention to my uncle I'm staying with a friend in Brighton over the summer, and he warns me to be cautious because that's where the gays are, I don't pour the kettle over his feet and instead make him an offensively milky tea. Number 4. I don't come out to my entire family over Christmas dinner, despite the pleasure I would take in seeing the primitive ones choke on turkey because Mama spent all morning making 3 kinds of stuffing, and I remember how much they hated being called racists at Easter. Number 5. When a female co-worker informs me that women drivers are worse than men, that feminism is ridiculous, and she quite liked Margaret Thatcher, I lock my bullet eyes on the computer screen ahead and decide not to shoot. Number 6. I say no to something I don't want to do. Number 7. I perform poetry on the street in Leicester, knowing full well that pedestrians can hear every word, and the poem I have chosen says fuck quite a lot in the middle section, and I love every stomach flipping minute. Number 8. I forgive the co-worker for describing me as the little twat trying to ruin our country after her disciplinary, and plot the downfall of our government over my lunch breaks.
Brilliant. Now, Amanda was worrying before that, dragging the tone of the podcast down with explicit stuff. I think you just stuck with the bad language, but excellent.
Sorry about swearing.
No problem with it. All I have to do...
I'm not appropriate for radio, unfortunately.
What I always have to do when I do a podcast is, if there's a warning on inoffensive or adult material, I have to put it on this
I'm
case.
sorry.
No, but it's fine. I find it great.
I think that gets more listeners, doesn't
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
We put on it, this is shocking material.
I like that. I'll put that as an endorsement. Amy King.
Andy N, spoken label. Shocking.
Shocking material.
Okay, go for it. What would be the best? Tick to the second one because people are starting to come in.
Okay.
Then we'll record you on the session later.
Okay. So the second one I'd like to do is called Coming Out in Witherspoons.
Oh, great.
Number 1. I meet my friend part 1. I meet my friend by the entrance, suspense eager like a puppy in the cage of my chest. We head to our usual booth, where she flashes the necklace her soon-to-be ex-boyfriend bought her this morning. His last silver attempt to mend the already dead, I suspect, knowing full well that chain will live longer around her neck than his name will in my head. Whilst the stage is set, I inhale the dregs of courage from my 3rd IPA, hold the hand of my heart as she shakes and says, "Now! Tell her now!" as the cage door creaks and the words greet my teeth for the first time. "I've met someone," I offer into the conversation. And just like that, the grenade I've held like a fist for months is sat between our not-so-vintage plates with a smirk on its lips and a bag of popcorn, sure this next scene will be worth an Oscar, wondering if I'll say the name on the card or the one that history prefers. "I'm dating a girl," I whisper, looking for a picture of Blue Lagoon to drown my panic. In that moment, I wonder, has anyone ever been this stressed in a Witherspoons before? My heart says yes. Of course they have. This is Witherspoons. Wilder things probably went on before breakfast. And I almost want to laugh, but my friends haven't spoken in over a minute, taking the longest sip I've ever seen from an empty glass before asking, "Have you actually done anything?" Which translates in our language to a kiss doesn't count. And I'm forced to account the way it felt the first time I had sex as evidence this is not a fantasy. This is me needing to hear it's okay to feel this way about another girl. And I want to hurl the entire bowl of chips at her head because this is worse than I expected. And when the word phase leaves her tongue, I could punch a fucking wall. But I don't, because I have no upper body strength. And I know my girlfriend will do it herself when I tell her this story tomorrow. Part 2. We are 3 pictures in, hidden in the back corner of the top floor like baubles in an attic. His gran asked if we were a couple again before he left the house in a smart shirt. And as I slurp the last of the purple rain, he looks at me with a wobble and says, "Aim, I need to tell you something." And I reply, "Me too. I need you to know I'm gay." He breathes. And I reply, "Me too." And any confusion we have in that moment is smothered in sweetness, like icing sugar on a burnt sponge, and we lunge our hands into each other's, holding on to the way acceptance feels and agree that our pact to marry at 50 still stands, but the in-between bits will be just grand, and there is no chance anyone is happier than us in Witherspoons right now. And as I look my heart in the eye for the first time all night, she says, "I don't want to do this forever." And I say, "No, neither do I. But give it time. For me, give it time."
Fantastic. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You've kept me in a manner enraptured there.
That's very kind.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's been a fantastic session. Of course, we've made part 3 now, or we're going to try to record you later on. So
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been great fun today. I really enjoyed doing this today. So it's always good when you do session people, you don't know them.
Yes.
And you feel like at the end of it, you know people.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt like I really got to know you.
Thank you. I've had a lovely time. It's been great.
I will look forward to seeing you at SpeakEasy in a bit. So this is Andy N. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amanda. We're all going to have drinks now, so we start. So see you soon, guys. Bye.
Spoken Label.
Number 1. When a co-worker describes me as the little twat trying to ruin our country in front of everyone in the office for mentioning my politics, I don't reply, "You fucking what?" I'll lamp her with my stapler. Number 2. When a distant cousin I haven't seen in over a year declares with that tone of superiority that he can't do anything useful with a literature degree, I smile politely and head straight to the bar because I know it will be a long night. Number 3. When I mention to my uncle I'm staying with friends in Brighton over the summer and he warns me to be cautious because that's where the gays are, I don't pour the kettle over his feet and instead make him an offensively milky tea. Number 4. I don't come out to my entire family over Christmas dinner, despite the pleasure I would take in seeing the primitive ones choke on turkey because Mama spent all morning making 3 kinds of stuffing and I remember how much they hated being called racists at Easter. Number 5. When a female co-worker informs me that women drivers are worse than men, that feminism is ridiculous, and she quite liked Margaret Thatcher. I lock my bullet eyes on the computer screen ahead and decide not to shoot. Number 6, I say no to something I don't want to do. Number 7, I perform poetry on the street in Leicester, knowing full well that pedestrians can hear every word, and the poem I have chosen says fuck quite a lot in the middle section, and I love every stomach flipping minute. Number 8, I forgive the co-worker for describing me as the little twat trying to ruin our country. After her disciplinary, and plot the downfall of our government and plot the downfall of our government over my lunch breaks. Thank you.
Yay.
Ooh, I think I've changed my mind. Cool. So in the summer I took on a bit of a project with myself that was kind of writing poems about things that make people uncomfortable, because I thought if I can open up a conversation, if I can get up on stage and talk about something, then chances are someone else in the room feels the same thing, and that's probably a good way to get people talking about uncomfortable things. So this last poem I'm going to do is called "It's Fine to Get Checked for an STI." That's right. You heard me, it's in the air now. Sexually transmitted infection. Doesn't sound sexy, does it? Doesn't go down well at dinner parties. Best press your thighs tightly together and pretend you didn't hear me. Pretend only certain people catch them. Pretend we don't all have a friend who has one and is still living their best damn life. Then rewind a few weeks. See me strut to the front desk in a dress that says I'm not here to fuck about. My words land uncertain as paving slabs on the lap of a lady as I ask for an STI checkup. Please. No, I've got no visible symptoms, but it's been a while and I'd like to be sure. And I can guarantee the nurse on the other side of that door will have no opinions on my sexual activity. She has seen it all before, literally warts and all. She's mastered the art of discussing oral sex like it's bus stop small talk. She has seen more vulvas this week than I as a gay woman will see in my entire life. And above all else, she does not give a toss if you've shaved or not, because she has a job to do. And she tackles it with empathy. Because like you or me, she is also a person with a body and a mind, and knows that no one feels comfortable talking about STIs. I certainly don't, and I'm the one who wrote this poem. But until we normalise taking care of our insides, these sexual stigmas are going to persist. This isn't meant to be an embarrassment parade. This is people unashamed, sexually liberated, staying safe, because why the hell would you trust Google or yourself for a diagnosis? I mistake spots of chocolate for new freckles on a daily basis. I am not trained to know what is going on down there, and chances are neither are you. Just book an appointment. This includes the men too. Those places aren't just for contraception and free condoms. We need to step up, start taking care of ourselves, knowing full well that walking through that clinic door does not automatically mean you're carrying a disease. It just shows you're taking responsibility for your own body, and if there is something wrong, at least you're facing it head on. Like the girl who sits beside me, who titters as she flicks through a clipboard, prodding fingers at questions that to her sound ridiculous. As if I'd ever be paid for it. As if I'd ever be forced. I envy her innocence as she giggles, flips the paper, ticks simpler boxes and moves on. Because to her, this clinic trip might be nothing more than a joke or a dare manifesting into accidental action, but if it gets her here, then what does that matter? And if you've never been, I will come with you. We'll make it a day out, we'll get the gals together, go for cocktails after, print matching t-shirts. If you're feeling extra, I'm not bothered about the effort it takes, so long as you're staying safe, feeling unashamed and taking care of your body the way it deserves. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amy. I'll just see you back.
Spoken. Thanks again for listening to another session of the Spoken Label. Our full archive can be found over on Bandcamp at Spoken Label. That's one word. Spoken Label. Full stop. Bandcamp.com. And there is over 150 sessions there. So I'm sure that if you've enjoyed this session, there'll be something else there you can enjoy as well. Take care. Bye bye. Spoken Label.